Hello, all you scaredy cats and kittens, and welcome to the Two Scaredy Cats podcast, where we talk about all things paranormal. We're your hostess with the mostest. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kara.
So, Kara, what'd you do this weekend? Anything? Or what did you do? What's been going on in your life?
I don't even remember what I did last weekend.
Weren't you at a con or a convention or whatever?
No, not last weekend. That was the weekend before. I don't even remember what I did
partying?
This weekend.
Were you partying?
No, it's like one of my only weekends off, so I was probably doing nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's not fun and exciting.
Oh.
Where were you the weekend before that?
In Detroit.
Oh.
Oh, did I tell you about how we drove up to Cleveland on Monday, and then the arcade that we were trying to go to was closed or something?
What did you guys do?
It was really stupid. So we drove up to, there's a special kind of, it's kind of like Dave & Buster's, but it's called Round One. It's an arcade.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
To it. There's one in Dayton, but we wanted to go to the other one because we were hoping that they had different prizes, because the prizes suck right now at the Dayton location. So we drove up there. It's a 2.5 hour drive. It was right up by like Madison Seminary, actually. Funny enough.
Oh, really?
We drove up there, and we got there, and they were like, "Yeah, we can't. Our system's down. So on none of the cards, even if you reload your card, it won't work. On the app or anything." So we literally, there was no way for them to do anything. So it was pretty terrible.
Aw. So you wasted.
They
2
let
hours.
us, and then we had to drive back. So it's another 2 hours back. And we went and we ate, and then we came back, and then Leah and Savannah became Karens, and they complained about it because we fucking drove up there. And then I guess the lady was nice enough that she let us all win something from the crane games.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we had to play it, but she made it so we could win, if that makes sense.
Okay, that does make sense. Huh.
So we didn't leave empty-handed, because we literally drove up here specifically to do that.
Jeez. Did you guys go to the Mexican restaurant that we ate at when we were at the seminary, or did you go someplace
No, we went
else?
to some ramen place.
Oh, okay. Of course.
It was I don't know. It was good.
All right, well, that's cool.
Apparently that never happens, but it just so happened to happen the day that we decided to drive 2.5 hours up there.
Ooh, yeah, that stinks.
So that was my Monday.
That sounds like a interesting Monday.
It was something.
Yeah, sounds like it was something. Yeah, not too much been going on around here since Halloween's been kind of quiet for a while, which is always good.
Yeah.
In my book. Anyway.
Yeah, I had 2 weekends off, and then I'm going to another con next weekend. In Texas.
I know, you're going to Texas.
Yeah, I remember in Texas.
I'm jealous. I wanted to go so bad, but I can't because of work.
You could have went too, because we had room in our room.
Really? Oh, don't tell me that. Now you're going to make me want to go even more. That'd have been so cool to go to Texas.
I know, and it's at a Kalahari.
Where in Texas are you going to be?
Austin. I'm flying into
really?
Austin.
Oh, Austin. Nice.
They're doing a cowboy meetup where everyone dresses up as a cowboy
Nuh-uh.
at the con.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, wow. So you're going to wear your best plaid?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, cowboy
boots.
Hat and some boots and some.
You got that blue plaid shirt you can wear.
Yeah, I know. I have a plaid shirt I could probably wear. I don't know if I'll actually go to it, but because I'm working,
That's funny.
Gotta be a worker.
All right.
Yeah, there's something.
Let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go first? Or are you gonna go first? I'll go first.
Yeah, because I think I went first last time.
Yeah, I think you did. So this week I am going to be talking about Egregore, which is a type of haunting that you can experience.
Okay.
All right. So, actually, you might have heard of an Egregore before, because our friend the Slender Man, who we've talked about in a previous episode, actually is considered an Egregore. So what an Egregore is actually it's created from the energy of the space or a place, instead of being attracted to it. So it's basically created by the feelings that people push out into an area. So if you're going to go to a space and you believe it to be haunted, and it attracts all these visitors who think or believe that they will see this ghost, they go there, and then the physical energy from that space makes it actually have that energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically, you're creating something from nothing. And all that pent up that negative energy that everybody brings, and all that like scaredness that you have, of seeing something supernatural, that all that energy compounds, and it creates this form or entity that can respond like a ghost would, but it has more troublesome characteristics than a ghost does.
You're saying belief, basically believing that
basically
something is haunted is enough to make it haunted.
Exactly. Just by believing and having those feelings that, you're going to experience something going in there, your fear, your anger, all those kinds of feelings in a particular place is what makes this egregore thing come up to be. And basically, they're manifestations of energy. And so instead of like this, like when you have a ghost, it's basically the spirit of somebody that had once lived, right? So you have this, this person that's attracted to the area based off whether maybe they live there, something terrible happened to them, maybe they died there, or it's something they just remember from when they were alive. So that's why a ghost might be attached to an area. But when you have an egregore, it's attached there because of the energy, not because it was actually a real living person being thing. So they're basically like this energy, like this nasty energy that's been collecting in this place or this area, and it turns itself into like it manifests into like negative energy, and then it becomes something, but it's not really a person or a thing, so it really doesn't have a name. It really never existed, so it doesn't have like a beginning, if that makes any sense, or an origin story. It just exists. And it can be very negative when you have this type of energy, and it will feed off of everybody's fear and negativity, and it will project that back to you. If you know what I mean, like let's say you're really scared of, say, spiders, or you have a fear of being alone in the dark and stuff like that. So it will project that stuff back onto you. Now, because the egregore was never really like a true, like a person, and originally, they, like, if you ask it questions and stuff like that, it can't give you like a real answer. It can only answer like in yes and no forms. Unlike if you ask a spirit, questions, if you talk to it through a spirit box or board or whatever, it'll actually give you like a real legit, like answer, or you can hear it like, you can hear them talking, you can get EVPs of them, but that's not the case when you have an egregore. Like I said, they're just basically energy, manifestations of energy. There was an actual experiment called the Philip experiment in 1972, where a legendary parapsychologist did a study by a doctor of the name of George Owen, and he wanted to test the theory that while ghosts are real, basically, for the most part, they can be created out of our minds, and of those who see and of the minds of the people that see them. So what he did is he did this study, and he had 8 people, and they invented a character, all right, and then they attempted to summon this character after they gave it, this whole background story, and they named it and all this, and remarkably, they were actually able to contact this entity that they had made up. And not only that, they were also, they could ask it like certain questions about itself, and the answers would match up with the details that the group had created about it. So basically, it fed off what the group was feeding it, if that makes sense. So if you put out a bunch of negative stuff about it, then it's going to give you back a bunch of negativeness, if that makes sense. And then if you were to put out like good stuff about it, then good stuff. It's kind of like karma, you know what I mean? Like where they say, whatever you put out into the world will come back to you. Well, that's kind of like what he was trying to experiment with, but more so with like energy, spiritual energy, and whether or not like a group of people could actually manifest something. So in the experiment, there, like I said, it was a group of 8 individuals. They met regularly for a week they met once a week, and they focused on this fictitious character that they made up, and they ended up calling the spirit Philip. And they gave him this whole backstory, you know, and it had all the juicy stuff in it that you would need in order to attract negative, you know, energy, or attract something to negative energy. Like Philip basically, his wife was cheating on him. She ended up declaring her a witch. She ended up dying, you know, burning at the stake kind of thing, you know, all that good stuff. And there was actually a movie that was made about the experiment called The Quiet Ones. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I've never seen it. I want to go see it now after I realized it was actually about this experiment that was done. Now, in the movie, they take a lot of liberties, so it's not exactly the same as this. Like in the movie, there's like this girl that is basically possessed, I guess you would say, by a spirit, whereas they actually made up this spirit out of nothingness. And Dr. Owen's wife, Iris, was the leader of the group, and she actually wrote a book called Conjuring Up Philip, An Adventure in Psychokinesis. And the book was basically about everything that happened, and what all the information they got, you know, how they worked with Philip, how he came to be, and what kind of stuff that happened when they did make contact with Philip. And I'll tell you what, there's actually footage out there, like real footage from when they did these seances to contact Philip, because that's how they contacted him, was through these seances that they would do. And they have actual footage that their son, the doctor and this Iris lady, that he took video of it, and you can actually see it on the internet. It's pretty crazy what happens. Like the table, they did like the table thumping thing. Remember we talked about that in one of our episodes. I forget which house it was that we talked about, that you remember you were talking. I think it was one that you did, where they would do the table thumping thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where they would ask questions and it would knock on the table, the spirit. Well, that's what they did. And when they were doing that, they said that sometimes, and they even have pictures of this, it's so crazy, that they would all have their hands on top of the table, the 8 people that were holding these seances, and the table would lift up and just stand on one leg, even though all their hands were like up on the table. It was really crazy. But she said that when they were doing it, like the movie is a lot different. Like it has this whole darker, edgier side to it, you know, because that's the way horror movies are today, you know, this whole demonic thing to it. And there was like, apparently the main character in that one, that was the girl that was possessed, she actually was in like a satanic cult or something weird. Oh, in real life, like, they were not in a satanic cult. The 8 people that were doing this experiment were actually part of the Toronto Society for Physical Research. And there were 3 men and 5 women that were involved in this group. They held seances, like I said, to talk to Philip, and there was not a medium in the group. So usually when you're having a seance, you'll have a medium present to make contact with the other side. They did not when they were doing all their stuff. The most they ever got out of Philip, though, was he would answer very simple questions with a yes or no, and he would do that by like knock on the table once for yes and knock twice for no kind of thing. And then if he couldn't answer that question, then sometimes he would like scratch the table and you'd hear like scratching. But that's all the more violent that the Philip that they talked to ever got. In the movie, they take liberties, and they made it seem like, you know, people were getting thrown across the room by this entity and all this craziness. It's called The Quiet Ones. I've never heard of it before. I think I've seen it on Netflix, but
is it on Netflix?
I think it is. But yeah, so it's basically loosely based off this experiment that they did that tried to prove that these egregores exist, and that you know, different from a real spirit that actually, you know, once lived and walked the earth. Egregores are made, you know, up by a group of people with the same idea and the same story, that, you know, when they put all their energy together, they can make this person come to life, which is basically kind of...
So they ever become sentient?
Yeah, they said they can, but the one that they did not.
No, I'm talking about, like, if, like, all these people left and someone random came in, would the energy still be there, and would, like, the entity be able to interact with them even though they had no clue?
They didn't go, like, yes, and they did not go that far at that time, because remember, this was like 1972, So that, you know what I mean? They were just, he basically started this experiment to prove that we, like, a group of people could basically, based off your fears, could make up, you know, a entity or whatever. Now, other stuff I've read has said that these egregores, actually their name, if you look it up, is basically its name means watcher in different various cultures and stuff. And they say that they're basically will watch what goes on in the world, but they're like
watchmen.
Yes, well, yeah, the watchman from he would only sit and he never got involved until the very end when he did get involved. But kind of like that they're just watchers and they just sit back and let things happen the way they happen. But yeah, so that's all I have for you today. Is just about the about how
it reminds me of.
We can that we can just with the negative energy can manifest something. And it, like I said, depending on the type of energy of a space and that it can be attracted to, it can either be a very negative experience or it could be a very nice experience. It just depends on the energy that it feeds off of. So that's all I got today.
Reminds me of tulpas.
That was, yes, actually, that was also mentioned.
It's a thought form.
Yes, exactly. That,
It's a similar concept where if you put enough energy and, like, thoughts into something, it can create, like, an own sentient thing. And eventually, as long as, it's kind of like a Slender Man-esque.
Yes.
Kind of. But that's similar to what you're talking about, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of in that same realm.
Because it's a Tibetan thing.
Yes.
Tulpa is like a Tibetan thing.
Yeah, they did mention that a little bit when I was looking at it.
Did they mention tulpas?
Yes, they did.
I figured they probably mentioned.
They did mention, like you said, they talked about them as being to the point of they almost have their own thoughts and stuff when you get to that level of it.
And they haven't get their
right. This one is not. This is basically, it's getting all of its information off of the group.
I tried to make a tulpa when I was little.
What?
I read it. There's a creepypasta about a tulpa I read on the internet. And I thought it was cool.
Oh my God!
I tried to make one. I didn't succeed,
Jesus,
but I tried.
Child.
You have to. There was like a thread about like how to do it.
Okay, bad idea. Let's not read threads on Reddit about how to do shit. That's how the.
It was like a Reddit thread.
That's how the elevator game got started, and that girl ended up dead. Let's not do dumb stuff.
I'm just saying, when I was a young, impressionable child, it was like the tulpa story scared me.
I know. Like, I was reading that, and I'm like, huh.
There's a creepypasta about it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it's like the story about this guy who made a tulpa, and then it like ended up like going crazy and fucking trying to kill him or something.
Huh.
I don't remember.
Interesting.
It's a long read.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
Creepy.
But yeah. So yeah, and it, like I said, the tulpa was mentioned in there like that. It's kind of in the same.
Oh, I figured it was. It's on the same sort of realm.
Kind of it comes about the same way, but not, exactly. But yeah, within that scope. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us today?
I'm going to be talking about a cryptid. The JerseyDevil.
Ooh, the JerseyDevil.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's not a lot about him, honestly, but I feel like he's a pretty prominent cryptid when you think of. He's probably in like the top 3 or 4, at least for the U.S.
Right.
So I figured we should cover him at least.
Yeah.
It is said to inhabit the Pine Barrens of South Jersey, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
It is the designated state demon. I didn't know that was a thing.
Wait a minute. You could have a state demon?
Yes. You know how there's like a state bird?
Yes.
The JerseyDevil is the state demon.
Oh,
so
my
I was like,
God.
oh, that's funny.
All right, that's it. Now I'm going to have to go look up and see what the Ohio state demon is. Jeez.
I don't even know if they have, but it's the only state demon, though, just to clear that up.
Okay.
They don't have other ones. That's the only one they have.
Well, thank God. Yeah,
I was like, what the hell?
I've never heard of that ever. Now I gotta go look that up.
There's a few sports teams named after the JerseyDevil.
Right, yeah, I've heard of that before.
Yeah, the Jersey.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Mario was just telling me about it. So basically what it looks like is it looks like a kangaroo with the face of a
kangaroo?
Horse. Yeah, so it looks like a kangaroo, but it has a face of the horse.
What?
It has a head of a dog, the wings like a bat, and it has horns and a tail.
Okay.
It's a weird looking creature. I won't lie.
It sounds weird. I didn't think he looked like that. I knew he had antlers, but I didn't realize he had all the other weird stuff.
No, he looks like a little freaking little weird thing.
He sounds weird,
when I was looking this up, I found this really stupid. Someone like tried to claim that they had like video footage of him flying. It is the stupidest.
Oh my lord!
Biggest thing I have not.
Good grief.
Someone you should look it up. I found it. I was like, oh, this is bad. It looks so dumb.
Somebody running around with like
it looked like just someone like someone had like a thing and it was just like flapping his wings.
Oh,
I was like, what is this? It was bad. I won't lie. So there's a bunch of different origin stories for this cryptid. It's not like Mothman where he just had like one singular timeline.
Right. This
guy is like also where the time period. So its origins were from 1735. Was like the earliest.
Really? Wow.
He's from a long time ago, like the first settlers, because New Jersey's like one of the first colonies,
right, one of the first, yeah.
Yes. Huh. So like he's an old cryptid, probably one of the like best well known, at least in the U.S. So one of the most famous kind of origin stories for him takes place in Leeds Point in 1735. A Quaker woman gave birth during a thunderstorm, and the mother was known as Mother Leeds, and she had 12 other children. So this kid was going to be her 13th child. Some variations say the child was born deformed, and then there are other ones that say that the child just took the odd characteristics after it was born.
Okay.
But basically the child escaped through the chimney. It just flew up the chimney.
What?
After it was
she
born.
Gave birth and it flew up the chimney? What in the world? Could you imagine sitting there giving birth and it's like, woo, see you later.
And there's just like a little creature crawls out and it flies up the tree.
Oh, goodness gracious. That sounds crazy.
That's just one. There's like multiple different ones it could be. We don't really know. Well, I mean, I do go into like the history, that kind of stuff, and people like did research to find out if Mother Leeds existed. So another version says a Leeds Point girl fell in love with a British soldier, and the townsfolk cursed her because of it.
Okay.
She later gave birth to a deformed child that became the Jersey Devil.
All right.
Not as cool, but
I like that better than the flying baby.
Flew up the chimney. Okay, and then there's another version that tells of a young woman who passed the gypsy begging for food, and she refused to give her any. So she was cursed. And then she forgot about the curse, but then years later, while having her firstborn child, the kid became a devil and fled into the woods.
I don't know. I think I still like the other one about the love of the British soldier, and she had a, messed up baby.
I mean, that kind of makes more sense, especially for the
time.
I
agree. The flying baby makes no sense whatsoever. And the third one there.
And during a thunderstorm.
Yeah, okay, no. I'm going to say no on that one.
That was weird. Yeah. So, there were some very interesting sightings, I will say.
Okay.
These are like famous people who say they spotted or they had an interaction. Yeah. So Joseph Bonaparte, brother of Napoleon Bonaparte.
What?
Had seen the devil while game hunting in the nearby woods.
Okay.
Who Napoleon Bonaparte was like the king of Spain.
I know. That's why. Wait a minute. So what was the king of Spain doing on like American soil?
It was his brother.
Oh, okay.
His brother. Was there.
His brother. Okay.
It was a British colony.
Well, I know,
sense,
I know the Spanish. Yeah, I know.
It's like I said, these are some crazy.
I know, crazy stories.
I was like, that's pretty crazy.
Yep.
That this.
I'm not buying that one. Okay.
There were claims that the devil had been seen with a mermaid.
Oh.
In 1870.
So what? It just flew out to the ocean, and him and the mermaid are like having a good old time, or what?
I guess there's some really weird sightings.
Okay.
Like I don't
Strange.
understand. And there were reports the devil had breakfast with Republican Judge French. Like
what?
And then later it said, "Don't worry, we don't know his political affiliation."
Oh my god!
So
like, what? The Jersey Devils having tea and crumpets now with judges and stuff. Oh my goodness!
With a judge.
Goodness, this is crazy.
Where New Jersey is, he's been like spotted like pretty far.
Sounds like
over.
it.
So like,
right?
They've seen him on the border of New York.
What really?
Which, if you know any sort of geography, yeah. So he's kind of like all over in that area.
It sounds like it.
Mainly, the legends mainly say he's in the Pine Barrens, which is like this. It's like a forest.
Isn't it supposed to be? Isn't the Pine Barrens supposed to be
It's
haunted?
just a haunted.
That's
place.
what I just was gonna. Yeah, I have heard about that.
It's a very scary kind of.
Yeah, like you don't want to be there alone at night. Yeah,
very dense. You do not want to be there at night. Yes. I've seen. When I was like little, I would watch like those people who would go hunting for the Jersey Devil out in the woods. On like history, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do know what you're talking about. Yes,
and I would watch those, and I was like, "This is so scary." And,
and now you're just like, "Oh, wow, what was I watching? Why?"
I mean, I think that forest is pretty creepy.
I do too.
Just like the history. There's been like
all kinds of stuff. Yeah, Bigfoot sightings have been there.
Witchcraft too. Yeah. That like isn't New Jersey like witchcrafty area?
Yeah, like, it's near Massachusetts and all
in the area. Yeah. I don't know geography.
Yeah, neither do I. So don't yell at us if we're wrong on our geography, please. Yes. Don't come at us.
Yeah, please. So most tales of sightings had been from word of mouth, obviously, because it was so far back, like 1730s.
Wow.
But, however, there were published police reports and news articles during a week in 1909.
Okay, here we go. Finally, now we're getting to
Here we go. Here was like there were 30 different sightings in 1 week.
Okay,
so it kind of like reminds me of the Mothman
Yes,
stuff.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like where all of a sudden there's like there was news articles like from all over. It was from Pennsylvania. People in Pennsylvania were citing this thing too.
Okay,
it was just all over.
All right, now it's a little more believable.
It was a little wacky in the beginning, but I definitely think there was something going around, at least in this specific window of time.
I agree. So yes, people. If you have that many people, there's something going on.
That many sightings in a week,
exactly.
And like it was a headline news in all of these places.
Okay, yeah.
So, after that was going around, the scientific community was asked to like go look into this because they're like, "What is this?" They threw around some ideas, and one of the ideas is it might be a prehistoric creature that survived. That was one.
What?
And then, yes, there was one theory that it was a marsupial carnivore because it looks like a
marsupial carnivore. Okay. So like an opossum that's gone rabid, and okay, yeah, no, I don't buy that.
Like what is it called? A kangaroo is a marsupial.
It is. So is an opossum.
So I'm saying it makes sense because it looks like a kangaroo.
Right. You did say yes, kangaroo.
Yes. There was also a theory that it was a sandhill crane, which was also what they thought Mothman was.
I do remember that, yes. Now, wait a minute. Let's back it up. No, you're right, but back it up for a minute. We're talking about marsupial, like a kangaroo in New Jersey.
I know.
Those are in Australia. We don't have the same environment as Australia for there to be one.
I'm like, why is there a kangaroo flying around?
The heck? So weird. Did they dig it out of the zoo maybe? And it,
Oh, wait, no, it gets better.
Okay.
There's some crazy stuff. So, the Philadelphia Zoo offered $10,000 reward for the devil's capture.
Okay. All right.
Yes. So, some animal trainers there was a museum that they created a devil from a kangaroo.
Oh,
they painted a kangaroo and they put wings and they gave him claws and they tried to say it was.
Oh my gosh, that's
the
awful.
Poor guy.
I feel bad. Kangaroo.
Yeah.
Aw, that's so mean.
It's messed up.
Yeah, it is very messed. People are messed up. People need help. Poor thing.
But I'm just like, that's so crazy.
That you know what? People do anything for money, though. So, are we surprised?
I mean, yeah. Well, and apparently this museum was about to be closing, so it was kind of like
a last ditch effort to try and
last ditch. Like if we didn't do something, we're gonna
go anyway. Yeah, I get it. Not the most tasteful idea, but...
So, basically, before the 1900s, the Jersey Devil had actually been known as the Leeds Devil.
Well, that makes sense, because it was the Leeds...
was the name
of
Mother Leeds. They did do some digging to try and see if the Mother Leeds actually existed. And the Mother Leeds, from some of the origin stories, is thought to be Deborah Leeds. They, found someone with that name.
Okay.
She had 12 children,
which
checks that box. And she did live in the correct area.
Oh, okay.
I believe that her husband was a political figure, And so there's like some speculation that he wasn't really well liked, and they think that Leeds Devil was kind of like a thing where it came out because
to kind of ruin him politically.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Got you.
But like we don't know.
Right.
It was from 1700s, but that's like some of the speculation that it was like a political thing, and then the Leeds Devil just kind of got, and then word of mouth. You know how everything.
Oh yeah.
Can get.
We've seen that.
Which I'm sure that's why there's like a story about the the baby running off and flying into the chimney.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah. But there is some truth. There was, we don't know if it's the real one, but there was a Mother Leeds who had 12 children.
Right.
But yeah, that's all I have really. There wasn't much.
There's been no
other than the really weird stuff
recently or anything.
I mean, people still go and like hunt for him. Like I said, that freaking photo. It was from a few years ago. The video.
Okay.
Like people still go and look for him, and there's been a lot of sightings, but it's just not.
There's no really 100% proof. Correct, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
It's all like fuzzy footage and stuff you can't tell.
Yeah,
what it is.
Crappy.
Is that all you got?
Do you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed our podcast today, follow us on Instagram at Two Scaredy Cats Podcast, and please be sure to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps the show get discovered. And tune in 2 weeks for a new episode. And to all our scaredy cats and kittens out there, remember, curiosity didn't kill these two scaredy cats.